Yorke runs a podcast. Hi.
What's up, guys? So we're live streaming this and simultaneously we're also filming this so that I can upload it to my YouTube channel.
And what's your YouTube channel?
So, dude, can I just say officially welcome to Talk with Yorke. Welcome to Talk with Yorke, bro. A very special episode of Talk with Yorke, I would say.
Awesome.
And one I've been excited for a while. And I just want to let people know that Tuka was super keen to do this. I consider myself in the scene. I'm a bit of a nobody. I don't really have much exposure or like visibility in the scene at the moment. I'm trying to build that as a up and coming musician myself.
Look at how much swag he's got.
Bro, I had to swag now. You're the swag lord.
Stand
Bro,
up.
you're the swag lord, bro. I couldn't come unswagged against the swag boss. I'll swag it out a little. What's up, swag? Wait, I gotta give a shout out to the lady. I actually can't remember the name of her business, but what happened with this? Because dude, I'm a street rat, bro. Like mad street rat from the country. You know what I mean? And Street wallaby, bro. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. And just to say like, this is the most swagalicious I've ever been in my whole life.
Dude, you're swagging out of control. You're making me feel like a little street wallaby.
Like a little fucking. Hey, that is a bit of a wallaby stance, eh?
That's more
Just let the arms flop and shit.
Kanga.
Well, who do you reckon stauncher, wallabies or kangaroos?
Kangaroos? Are you from Australia?
Have you ever tried to fight a kangaroo, bro? You wouldn't want to,
I know this isn't gangster, but
Mm.
I've never had a fight in my life, bro.
That's gangster as fuck. I mean, in my eyes, bro.
I knocked out my mum's boyfriend once. But that wasn't a fight. That was me.
That sounds like or was it just a massacre?
No, he was pissed and he said something hell rude.
Uh-huh.
I just punched him in the face.
Shit.
And
Did he wake up?
It wasn't even hard. I was like 15.
Did he ever wake up?
He remembered like 2 days later.
Really?
Yeah.
So
he was really drunk.
Yeah, okay.
And what he said to me was just like the most abusive shit you can imagine. He said something like, "You're living out of your mother's cunt." And so I was like, "What did you just say?"
You're living. I don't want to repeat that out of respect
for
your mother.
And so I stood up and
but what
punched him.
That's so like obviously.
And that was the first and last time I ever punched anyone.
Yeah, true. Well, if you're gonna do one punch, save it for the right moment. I'll say that was the right moment.
I mean, even looking back, it's not that I regret it, but I wouldn't hit him. Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't even bother hitting him.
Yeah, bro. And like, I think we both are on that same wave. We're not like here to condone violence or any of that shit. You're actually on a whole nother wave, to be honest. Insane, bro.
I'm evolved out of that.
Bros, I've been in like one fight in my whole life. I've been hit a bunch of times.
Oh, I've been hit before.
I've been hit, but I've been coward punched a bunch of times. But I'm lucky I've got a fucking big Irish head on me. And like, I usually hurt people's hands, but I'm the same as you. Bro, I'm not even trying to like flex my skull right now.
I've just evolved out of that. Like, I'm a spiritual person, living in a physical plane. So I understand that, that there's that dynamic.
Yeah. But
you won't hurt me by physically attacking me. It's I'm beyond that. So yeah. So, not to give people any tips, but what does like if you've evolved beyond that, like what point are you at? Like what would it take for someone to hurt you now? Or are you just trying to be beyond being hurt by anyone? Fuck, that's a hard question. I mean,
hey, Talk with Yorke, bro. We fucking do it every day.
I mean, I've still got an ego, so it's like my conversations with my ego is probably the most damning. The conversations I have with myself, probably the most damning.
Whoa. Yeah. I mean, and is that just like part and parcel of being like?
I mean, to be real, like when your homies act with like a selfish intent.
Well, that's yours. Sorry.
It's yours now. It's all good.
Shit.
I'm good.
I've been sitting here with your drink the whole time, dude.
I know.
And you just like let me do it because it was just right for the swag.
I don't give a fuck.
It matches the suit, like, let's be honest. Like this mug, like I look like a dude who would hold a mug like this right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh no, you were saying some real shit. So like.
Yeah, I guess like
when people you actually love, like that you consider like family.
When someone that you love that knows better does something anyway, that would still affect me.
Uh-huh.
But that being said, I wouldn't punish them for it.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, like, I can see that you're suffering enough to have to do that to me. And although that hurts, I know that you must be suffering to have done that. So that's punishment in itself.
Uh-huh.
I don't really believe in punishment or conventional punishment, like with malice, eye for an eye. That makes no sense to me. So like,
well, what's the saying? An eye for an eye.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
No, it's a really good one. They say like an eye for an eye just sends the whole world blind.
Exactly.
You know.
So yeah.
I fully feel that.
But to answer the question, probably the thoughts in my own head hurt me the most, or have hurt me the most.
Damn.
Yeah. But that's not. I think that's
real though.
It's
like,
real,
totally real.
and it's not like it's uncommon.
No.
I think that's like rampant through society.
Mm-hmm. And it's exactly what you were just speaking about. Is that like those people who are maybe acting in certain ways with their behaviours, people that you can't help but love, because I feel like you got to have a support network. You got to put trust and faith in some people. You can't do it all yourself.
We're social animals,
Totally. And I feel like when someone like that is acting out of maybe their own insecurity, or they're self-punishing and it's projecting onto you, like what you're talking about, I mean, that is exactly that. Like, I feel that.
Good.
Yeah, bro. You tied it up nicely, bro.
Yeah.
You tied it up nicely, bro. Cool, man. Well, and I also just want to say, I like how we got straight into it. We threw ourselves right into the deep end there. Just go.
Let's talk with Yorke, bro.
Let's talk with Yorke, bro. Like, you're a spiritual dude.
It's true.
I just said that assuming that you could.
I think I said it like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. So you're a spiritual guy. Like, I feel like I'm on a similar wave of like, if someone, and I think I've experienced this a lot lately, just trying to like understand this concept. If someone is doing something messed up in my head or something like that's offensive, all this stuff, I really, really, really agree with you. And I think that person, it's like a lot of it is insecurities and fears that they have in their own head. And instead of sometimes being able to like get out of their own insecurity and like how they feel about the situation, it's hard for people to like be like, well, it's hard for people to be like, oh, that person's actually suffering, like you said.
It's not hard for me, but it's taken a long time to learn that.
Why do you think people struggle? Because I see it holding people back. Like, if someone's acting like an idiot, like, don't worry about getting upset about it for the next 3-4 hours because they said something mean. It's like, acknowledge that it was like maybe the wrong thing or this and that, but don't take it on and like let it ruin your day.
100%. Yeah, it's like, one thing that I've found is that if you are agitated or aggravated, frustrated by a quality, a personality trait in someone else, it's because you are not comfortable with that element in your own personality, which is a little slightly off topic to what we're saying, but I like to keep that in the back of my mind, that if I'm being agitated by someone attacking me for no reason, like someone said, a troll said to me the other day, it was like on YouTube, it was like, I would prefer to shit in my hand and clap than listen to your music. And I'm just like,
oh, right in the stinger, eh?
And I'm an entertainer.
Yeah.
That was entertaining.
You saw the value. You're like, okay, you're actually funny.
Yeah, and I just go, you're so kind, thank you very much. And it's just like,
it's just like troll shit.
It's just like troll on troll shit, and I don't mind a good troll. If
you do, you get around, like, you embrace the trolls a bit, eh? Like you play, you sort of like play. You play a game like with the trolls.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a past life, I may have been a troll myself.
Yeah.
But because I'm a public figure, I can't do that. It's like not very graceful. And so the way that I play with trolls is that I do this thing called reality troll, where I do it in front of everyone publicly. So it's the complete opposite to what a conventional troll, keyboard warrior is. I do it totally vulnerably in front of as many people as I can, and I let them guide my decisions.
You let like your social media like network.
I don't. But the thing is, they're not allowed to bully them. The worst thing they're allowed to say is meow.
That's the worst thing they're allowed to say.
Yeah, it's like
I love that.
Troll them with positivity, because I think that's a more graceful troll. Because like, how hard is it to punch someone in the face when they're telling you they love them?
It's the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah.
to react like negatively like that.
Yeah.
And I feel that, like, I feel like, and as I'm maturing, I'm 25 now, and I'm like, I feel like I'm becoming a man every day more and more. And I'm realizing that actually killing with kindness is so effective. But the reason the reason that people don't do it is because it's actually so hard when someone's working you up and you're all in your own feelings to actually let that go and actually just be genuine and come at them with kindness.
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's hard. It's so hard for people to let that go, bro.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit here in like total hypocrisy and say that I don't snap.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because there's been people that have made me snap and I've acted extremely not graceful at all.
Yeah.
It's just my ideal to kill them with kindness and something,
I love it.
Something that I strive for, rather than saying be like me and lead by example. But it's something I'm consciously working towards. I will still snap, like,
for sure. We're animals, right?
If you fuck with my mother, I'll snap. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you
as you've proved in the past.
Or you disrespect someone that is close to me, I'll probably snap. Like, I'm not like this, like, juggernaut of fucking...
Like you're some Gandhi.
Gandhi. No, I'm...
Are you fucking Gandhi, bro, right now?
Probably. I'm like
it's likely,
I'm a love child of River Phoenix. No, Joaquin Phoenix and Gandhi.
You loved that Joker movie, huh?
Yeah. Duh. If Joker and Gandhi had a gay child, that came out wrong, but they would have to be gay, right?
Yeah. No, I'm getting it.
It would be me.
If Joker and Gandhi had a gay, so this is like it's an altered dimension here.
Altered dimension.
And they had a love child.
Men can have children.
Were they committed in a relationship, or were they like, or was it like a one night stand that they had?
It's not important.
It doesn't matter.
That
doesn't matter.
That doesn't really matter. I mean,
well, it does, because did you have a loving home? Like, you know, like, were you like raised by those?
Oh, because
like dimension.
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I was raised
in that environment.
In that environment with Joker and Gandhi.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love that. You're a progressive man, and we get into the weeds. Cool, bro. Well, like, I want to bring it back a little bit, and again, I want to thank you and say how we even met is basically something that does inspire me, like, genuinely about you, dude, and like just your energy. Is, you know, that you are like such a positive dude, and like obviously we're human beings and we all fucking have our sad times, and you try and be vulnerable with that and share that as well. But I think like proactively what you're actually actively trying to push is positivity, is kindness, and is like maybe helping people that don't maybe have a platform that you think are on a similar wavelength. You know, helping those people out and like sharing your platform and stuff. And that's what happened with me, you know. You just commented on one of my videos. I was just like singing and I was just playing a bit of piano, and you commented it and just genuinely gave me some love on it. And, you know, I want to say thank you for that. I really appreciated that, bro.
No problem. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. And so I think that's how we met, you know, right? Like, I guess met on social media is sort of like the same thing.
That's what reality has become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really, really, really cool. Could we like maybe go back, and you spoke a little bit before about like in your past, you know, you had to knock out your mum's boyfriend because you like, and that was the one time you ever really hit anyone. And I'll just like, I think with Talk with Yorke, it's really, I want to get beyond, you know, just what's always happening right now. I want to get to know a bit of the artist a bit more, because I know, for me as a person, knowing myself, so much of who this is that you see is because of my whole like childhood and my whole like the whole thing, and I think that's really important part of it. So, like, where did you grow up and shit?
I think I was like born in Blackheath, which is in Katoomba in the Blue, just 2 suburbs up from Katoomba in the Blue Mountains. And then I lived in a place called Yorke till I was in year 3, which is just near Tamworth. And then we moved back to the Blue Mountains, and I stayed from year 3 till I was about 20. I'm 34 now.
In the Blue Mountains?
I was in the Blue Mountains, yeah.
And how old were you when you dropped Wool Rap for Tuka?
25.
25. Okay. And so you left the Blue Mountains when you were 20, and where'd you head then?
I moved to Newtown.
Newtown. And this is all in New South Wales?
Yeah, Newtown's like right next to Central in Sydney.
Okay, cool. Okay, so were you trying to get closer to the city because you like had ambitions, aspirations?
Yeah,
that's a real good age for people to want to be like, okay.
Yeah, I've got this song called "Live With It." It's on my last record, and it's basically me telling my mother that I've made a decision to not go to university and to pursue a career in rap. And her just going, okay, I'll buy you a mic.
Damn.
Yeah, like, I don't know, I've only got one family member, which is my mom, that's all I've got. And thank God she was supportive, you know, and she recognised, like, I'm really dyslexic, and for people that don't understand dyslexia, it really is a learning disability. It's not that I can't learn things, I learn things very differently. Like, your way to walk in a straight line, I have to zigzag to get there. We get to the same point, but I've you know, gone very left of centre to do it. It's really difficult. So she kind of knew that there would only be like a creative outlet for me. That, like, you're not going to be able to make me a banker or a conventional
an accountant or some
job. That's just not going to work. It's going to be
different mind.
My mind isn't wired like that already. So thank God she was supportive, and yeah, I moved to Newtown, and you know, that's after living a pretty weird existence in the mountains, to tell you the truth.
How big is that?
The jump.
No, how big is population wise? Like around the Blue Mountains?
I think there's like 60,000 people in the whole of the Blue Mountains. Like, I was definitely the poorest in my small town. Like, I was the poor kid in the town. But not to say that the town was a poor place.
Was there an industry? Like, was there like a main industry that supported that area? Like, mining, nothing like that?
No, there was a Caltex.
There was a Caltex?
And a massive hotel.
You're talking like an actual, like with pumps and shit,
like a petrol station.
A petrol station?
That's it.
That's it?
I lived on the end, like, I got a song that I do a cover for Big Jet Plane, and it's like, I'm not lying in that song. I lived at the end of a long dirt road, no street lights, just a couple thousand trees. Like, it was just in the middle of the bush. Okay, so on the side of
so you had to go like fucking. You had to drive into the city to go shopping and shit. It was one of those spots.
The drive to Katoomba, which is about 15 minutes.
Okay, but you were separate out of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost like someone who maybe like, you know, around SA lives out on a station or something like that, and then maybe they drive down that dirt road. It's like 15 minutes get to.
I lived in the middle of the bush.
Cool.
In the middle of the bush.
Cool. And then you end up in Newtown, and you were chasing your dreams at that point at 20. Like, had you already figured out?
I basically had decided that I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give myself from 20 to 25 to be a rapper, and basically just before I hit 25, Obese Records signed me with Fundamentals, and I kind of just daisy chained from there until now.
And maybe you can enlighten me, because I'm not like particularly like a hip hop head. You know, I came up on a whole different sort of like, you know,
swag music.
Just swag, just people wearing shit like this. Now I do like just really eclectic. I was just like prog rock and like, you know, Tool and like bands like Carnival and shit like that. And like I was so into that. I was in a heavy metal band and stuff when I was younger, so I was in a whole different wave. But I just remember being like 14. My cousin fed me a bong when I was 14. Shout out Clint MC out in Melbourne somewhere. Hopefully he's still making tracks, brother.
Shout out to Clint.
Clint, bro. Yes, bro. He will love that, bro.
How's live stream going?
Is it going, G?
There's a couple people still there.
Hey, feel free to get some questions going. I remember being 14, just like smoking my first like, you know, bit of weed, and just like, that's when I experienced like the Aussie hip hop scene for the first time, and like listening to the Hoods, Draft, like, you know, Funkers, and like I'm sure there was like a bit of Tuka getting cranked around that time as well, bro, because there was that wave.
Probably Thunders.
And Thunders as well, right? But I wonder, I'm a bit curious about how did that sound form? Like, because you actually were at, I feel like the started for me anyway, that wave of something that was like totally different. And then like, what were your influences leading up to that point? Like, how did you first fall in love with rap? And then how did you find that sound? Because you could have rapped like anything, but you sat in that pocket, that sort of niche that was growing, and like how dope that you did because it kept growing. And
I mean, when I was in year 12, Hilltop Hoods came out with Nosebleed Section.
How old were you?
In year 12.
You were in year 12, okay, so 17-ish.
and I remember that coming on the radio, and then that was the first time I really connected with any Australian hip hop. I probably had an American accent when I was rapping before I heard that song.
Like we all did, bro. Like we all did.
And then I think it was just like, I just accepted myself really early on. But the reason I got into hip hop, I think, for me, looking back, at the time it was just a no-brainer. Like, this is what I'm into. But now, on reflection, when I'm thinking about it, it was more, I came from poverty, you know, and I might not represent that now because I've managed to climb out of there, but growing up, it was pretty harsh. And listening to people like, you know, Wu-Tang Cream and just American hip-hop and hip-hop from all around the world that are talking about the underclass, I really, really related to that. And even though they were talking about gang violence and things that I didn't relate to, the idea of getting out of your situation and putting yourself in a better situation through the vehicle of music was just so infectious. And I just literally never looked back from that. And so I think I was just like, it seems weird to be like a straight white middle class male to say like I was relating to that kind of music, but honestly, like,
but it's not at all, man, because I understand that.
That was it, you know. And the thing about it was, things have changed now, yo. Like,
whoa. And
back then, it was about being real. And it is now. Like, when you see the 1-4s and this new kind of wave, they're actually being very real. They're talking about their existence, and that's reminding me a lot more of what it was like then. It's like, that's why we didn't put on accents, because it was like, you kind of have to be authentic or it doesn't really sit well.
Doesn't resonate with people,
you know. And
like, even with yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't. Who gives a fuck about anyone else? It didn't sit well with me, you know, not being me. And as an artist, it's just like, who the fuck are you fooling if you're not gonna be authentic or real with yourself, you know? And I think that's why 1-4 are going so well, because it's just like, these are real stories. This is who we actually are, and people feed off that, you know. And we're having a renaissance of like, quote unquote, Australian hip hop with this new influx of like of drill or whatever we want to call it. I don't think it's all drill, to be honest. 1-4 is drill, but like like HB Boys, I wouldn't say is drill. So you know what I mean? Like, there's something authentic that's happening again. It's like it's a revival of something, and it's fantastic.
And do you think that's part of the sort of like, it's part of the maybe artistic process and how sort of genres sort of like flow, is that, you know, maybe there is a time where it's like it needs a bunch of authentic motherfuckers to be out there and like really pushing it with some real shit that connects hard, and then it like gets established, and then people sort of take it, they play with they experiment within that style and stuff, and then maybe they lose their way a little bit to a point where people start looking back at the old stuff again. Like, would you say that a lot of these people that you're talking about right now would be influenced by like the older stuff?
I think it's like desperately clear when someone gets popular, it starts becoming about money, and then once money's involved, people start trying to impress other people. I think I'm guilty of that. And then you get a reality check, because when a comparison comes up of someone just going, fuck anything, I'm just gonna tell you exactly how I see it. I think that just cuts through fat.
You go, damn.
So quickly. And, you know, I think 1-4 and Chillin' It have done that, you know, and Husky have done that, because they
reminded people
that it's like, you know, a lot of the times they don't even have hooks in their songs, you know. And
yeah, it's just bars.
And for me, I really enjoy songwriting, so I'm always going to include a hook. But sometimes it's like, that's the substance that they put in is more important than the arching hook of the song. And,
I feel that.
I think, you know, for a second there we got complacent, and, you know, now there's this new stream of beautiful, authentic, real narrative, like flushing through flushing out all the fake cunts, you know.
I connect with that hard, bro, because I remember being like, you know, a young motherfucker. You know, I just had my mum as well, and I had 3 little sisters and shit. You know, my dad was like, you know, off doing his own thing or whatever. And, you know, we were pretty poor. And I just remember, you know, I think weed was like an escape for me in some ways. I used to hang out with my mates and we used to do that. We used to connect with, oh, dude, those greens are looking crazy. Or like, look how crazy the sky looks, all this stuff. Listening to music. My mates showing me bands like Tool with just these really intricate, detailed, like, instrumentation throughout. And these crazy, really conscious lyrics, you know, really deep lyrics.
Tool cut through as well. Like,
and totally, but what I'm saying is like that I remember that stuff, and when something like what you're talking about happens, and someone comes out, you get a bit caught up. But then when someone comes out and connects through like the substance, it takes me back to when I was 14. I'm like, oh, dude, I remember how that feels to listen to some lyrics that actually affect you on such a deep core level.
Yeah,
and that reminds me almost of like that's what I loved about it. Like that's what actually hooked me into it. You know?
Yeah, society needs to be pulled up, and that's the role of the artist, is to go, oi, this has been festering, this has been happening, I'm gonna, like, it's almost like otherworldly that I'm gonna be this real with you.
Yeah.
You know, and because I'm this real with it, these people get propped up and stuff, which is a different conversation, because I don't think artists necessarily need to be propped up into otherworldly figures. I think that just happens
like
naturally.
idolized.
Yeah, I don't
things like that.
I have a weird relationship with celebrity. I don't really fuck with it, but I understand why, because there's admirations and stuff. But yeah, basically, it becomes otherworldly that you can just say what's on your mind. Because society at the moment, it's like, but you bite your tongue, you bite your tongue, you bite your tongue. Because out of fear. But as soon as someone actually says something,
it's just real shit,
then
it blows everyone's mind. Like,
like,
whoa,
that's what I actually think.
Oh my god! And like, I think like even I don't know if this is like a purist, like artist way of looking at it, or maybe it's just my perception. But I feel like the whole journey of being an artist, and I feel like this connects no matter what sort of art you're doing. But the whole, like, if you're committed to being an artist, I feel like the whole journey is really finding realness. Like, it's really, like, for me anyway, especially as a lyric writer, and you get this, is like how with each song, with each, you know, development that I make, can I more tap into what the hell I really think?
Well, that's an interesting thing, right? Because most people are sitting on the fence about how they feel about things. And artists are too curious. And so artists will step off the fence and they'll walk towards the cliff, and they'll actually look off the cliff and see if they basically just go fishing. And they'll pull an idea back and they'll bring it back to the fence and they'll go, look what I found. And then they'll twiddle their thumbs. Everyone will take what they've found and like distribute it equally and put it through a fucking bureaucracy, make some money out of it. And then the artist will get curious again and walk back. Whereas a lot of people are content just to sit on the fence. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sitting on the fence could potentially mean that they're building a structure, infrastructure, so when that artist gets back, he can have a fucking cup of tea.
If you're an accountant, or if you're like
everyone's needed.
If you're running a business, you can't be like dangling off a cliff, bro. You need to stay still for a second and take care of like your shit.
100%. Right? But the role of the artist is to inject ideas into society. And because that's not tangible, you can't touch it, artists are manipulated. And
the role of the artist is to inject ideas into society. I like that. And so would you say like philosophers are artists in a sense?
They're entrepreneurial with their art, yeah.
And like what sort of philosophers have maybe influenced you? Like, do you look to like, philosophy? I think musicians are philosophers as well. Like the way that
definitely
lyric writing happens, like you are philosophizing.
I mean, I listened to this podcast called Philosophize This, where this dude literally goes through every single philosopher. And you know, Plato, I've referenced in my songs, I think, had his head screwed on. But at the moment, I've been thinking about the role of the artist a lot, you know, and the role that the artist has in capitalism. So this is what I've been philosophizing, if you want to hear it.
Please. Because, dude, for me, like, I don't know, I'm curious about this information because I'm on the other side where I'm starting to look over that cliff and figure that out. So I'm super, super keen to hear your thoughts on the role of an artist. It might give me, or some other artists out there who are trying to figure out what this means, it might give them some clarity.
Well, regardless if you're an artist or not, if you're a creative person, you don't have a choice. You will need to exercise your creativity, and that will come out through curiosity. And if you don't, you will crush your soul. Like, it's one of those things that if you don't do it, you'll be depressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, and it's not, I'm not even talking about money. It's like,
no,
it's a part of your personality. Accept it and work with that. Mm-hmm. And not everyone has that. Mm-hmm. And some people call it a gift. I don't think it's necessarily a gift, but it is a part of your personality that you're gonna have to pay attention to and use it to let out. Mm-hmm. What I've been thinking about heaps is the role that capitalism plays in artistry, because it's quite interesting, because if you haven't noticed, artists are getting fully screwed over.
Still.
I mean, it wasn't always like this, and in other countries it's not this bad. But in Australia, for instance, like...
So you're talking about right now, like in the Aussie scene?
Right now, in Western society, in Australia, artists are fucking taken for granted and screwed over.
Is it because they're signing away all the rights to their own creativity, in a sense? Or?
Not necessarily. The way I see it is capitalism doesn't allow art really... So... This is really complicated, the way that I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, let's bring it back and let's...
Yeah, so, like, capitalism's flawed. Like, it's great. It's a provider, and it does a lot of cool things. I personally think that we've taken it too far, to the point where, more people are starving than not. Mm-hmm. And so we're fucking up. Not in just in Australian culture. In the whole world, we're fucking up. Like, people are starving to death while other people are extremely overweight. Mm-hmm. Nothing's being done about it, really.
Yep.
It's fucked.
Totally feel
It's
that.
a broken machine.
Gotcha.
It could work.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more effective than communism. I'm not a lefty. I'm not extreme right either. I'm probably just... All I'm saying is that there's room for capitalism to work, but it's not really working. We've taken it too far.
Mm-hmm. We're not doing it right.
Yeah, and so what's the artist's job? To go get an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so the artist will go fish for an idea, bring it back and go, why don't we do this? Mm-hmm. And so it'll be alternative to probably making money. It will be about distributing money differently. Mm-hmm. And so what capitalism, this is really interesting, will go, that'll sell. And so it'll get that idea and turn it into a product.
That's the motive.
And so that becomes ingested into capitalism. It doesn't change anything, but the activists...
It reinterprets it.
The activists that consume that capitalized art are almost delusional, in the sense that they're thinking that they're changing the world by sharing a fucking tweet.
But like we said, capitalized art.
Yeah.
It's not the pure idea itself, it's the processed version.
It's putting it on a conveyor belt and stuff. And so it actually makes art totally redundant, and just it draws all the life out of it. And unless you make an entirely different system, art, this is sad, but is almost redundant because of the way...
industrialization of everything.
Yeah, it's like, okay, just say I went out and I started a podcast about, like, something really progressive on how we could change something. Mm-hmm. And then the BBC go, okay, here's $1 million contract.
Yeah.
Can we make this? Mm. We'll put it prime time and we'll put it everywhere. Gets distributed. They put ads in the middle of it. It's like, well, now that's just something that...
The integrity is lost.
Well, it's just consumed. It's not really changing anything.
I mean, I feel like there's just been this, effect, knock-on effect of, and it's just, my opinion, I feel like it's been so strongly industrialized, and the profit motive is at the highest value, these days, and because of the way the businesses are, they've bought a lot of the art, so they own a lot of, artists, essentially, because they own the rights to their creations. 3 companies own 99.9% of popular music. Sony. I'm going to guess Sony.
Sony, Warner, and Universal.
And Universal. That's crazy, bro. And so that's exactly what I'm talking about, to the point where now the people that actually own it aren't artists, they're corporate. So they now, it's all about the profit motive. So now it's like the actual artist gets lost in translation, and all that matters is the product that can be sold.
Well, the message is still there, but it's not being...
But it's not being communicated like...
It's just being sold.
Yeah.
And
it's being boxed and packaged, and like, you know, they throw some glitter on it and they go, here you go. But the thing is, there's such a demand for art still, but people like are only getting the processed version, but there's still such a huge demand for it. And like, you get to the point where, like, I suppose to like a more modern day thing, where like literally they'll take someone who is popping for like being a prankster or whatever it is, something completely maybe unrelated to music, and they'll write a song for them, they'll like, you know, and then they'll just like push that out as a product now. Where like actual artists, like you said, are actually redundant. Like they're actually just like artificially creating it now.
Well, like this is a big reason why like people will potentially, if they follow me, notice that I'm pretty political on my social platforms, but in my actual songs, I won't push the political theme that much, and that's because I've decided to make music make you feel something rather than mobilize activism, like, because I think that, yeah, like, if I'm gonna work in a capitalistic society, which I don't really have a choice for, and if I'm gonna have my product pushed out, I want to make people feel good about themselves, because I think empowering the person is more important than pushing a moral judgment on them.
Yeah,
because you'd think that to make the better place, you should go out there and spruik stuff. But the thing is about art is it doesn't fucking do anything. It sits there. It's an object or it's a song, and it sits there. It doesn't do anything. The people have to utilize and be inspired by that.
Yeah, and people are that versatile, aren't they? People are the ones who create. We're the ones who go out and change stuff. You know?
Yeah, it's not the art.
The art is just like a tool almost. Like,
which is why I don't really think that artists need to be idolized. It's like the art. The art needs to be taken seriously, so considered and inspired, and then the people that actually get themselves out of a situation are the ones that have come out the other end as idols, as far as I'm concerned. Like the people that are empowered by music are the real heroes of music. That's why I put so much effort into empowering my fan base and giving back to them, and why I give you some dap online, because it's like, if that's all it takes is to just give someone a little bit of energy, whether it be through my own energy or through art, to actually create revolution in someone's mind and heart, then I think that's a good idea. And that's my idea for art. That's my approach for art. It's not that I'm necessarily an overtly positive person. People think I'm this really, really nice, positive guy. No, it's like my art is trying to empower you, because I think that will create social change.
Tell me if I'm wrong about this. I might even get like, you might even have like some nihilistic streaks through you, which I think some of the best philosophers ever have had.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm one of the darkest cunts ever.
I feel that. But like, it's almost through that nihilism that you realise the urgency that you need to like be pushing out positive stuff for people. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you're like, fuck, this is a dire situation. This nihilistic person, has to get out there because I've got a platform and like, you know, a creative mind, and I've got to go fishing. I've got to get to work and go fishing.
I feel like I'm sitting at the precipice of a lot of things, and I might be a bit ahead of the bell curve, and that's probably why I'm not so as popular as other artists, because I'm willing to sit on the edge of it, and just, I can see the future, and I know that sounds very arrogant, but I can see a version of the future, and
you can see the future, bro.
I can see elements of it,
No, totally.
And I think that the vulnerability about it is the future. I think that, what I'm doing will become more acceptable, like representing the little guy, the kill him with kindness thing. I think this is going to become stronger and stronger and stronger in the face of, the pendulum swinging back and things becoming more aggressive and more aggressive. Like, I was just walking down in the mall then, and it felt like I was walking through Clockwork Orange, bro. There's like this dude telling me that he's on a mic just telling, you're all fucking sinning, you're all fucking going to hell. And then there was a skinhead just fucking walked straight into his face and goes, you fucking, like
This crazy confrontation.
Yeah, and then the cops are just there, and I'm just like...
The cops probably didn't do anything, bro. It's Adelaide. They're like, it's just another day.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, this is like Clockwork Orange up in this, and so I just feel like, I know it's like played out, and we say it all the time, but Love Gang, it's literally kill them with kindness. It's the only way to move forward.
I agree.
Is basically not judging people, letting people figure it out for themselves.
So you're betting on, in a sense, and I actually agree with you with that. Like, I actually do think, like, if you wanted to, like, try and look at the trends and look, like, how, like, society is moving, what we're moving towards, and, like, you know, intergenerational, like, change of perception as well, I actually agree that we're moving towards vulnerability. Like, those people are being put on more of a pedestal now. Like, people who are vulnerable, authentic, you know, genuine, and who are, like, doing positive stuff. I genuinely think we're moving away from those, from some of maybe the older ways.
But the more we do that, the more backlash we'll get. That's the thing.
And someone's got to be that almost like, you know, someone's got to be that martyr. There's always got to be those people who've got to come out and be those martyrs when maybe it's a bit early, but to make that transition maybe click harder.
Or at least to inspire someone else to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like Tupac.
And yeah, dude, fuck yeah, bro. How fucking revolutionary was that dude?
Well, he inspired Kendrick Lamar to inspire the whole world.
Are you inspired by Kendrick Lamar? Because I was tasting some of that even in the single you just dropped.
Trail Trash.
Yeah, I know. I just got some Kendrick Lamar vibes. I could be way off with that, but like when like.
Hey, compare me to Kendrick Lamar.
I think like you did like a bit in one of the verses where there was like you sort of upped the energy with like a harmony on like a rap bit.
Yeah.
And it was just, I know it's got a bit of a Lamar vibe. But like, yeah, and again, bro, like you say, you know, I'm not out here preaching, but like your lyrics also say that, and that's what I said. That lyric that resonated with me was the lyric of, you know, I don't think I know everything. You know, let it be known.
I don't claim to know anything. Let it be known. I don't think that I do. I don't claim to know anything. Let it be known.
If I say something,
if I say something to benefit.
Fuck me dead.
Fuck me dead. It was probably
a fluke.
Yeah.
And it's like you're being real, bro. And you're like, you know, I think that's good, and I think that lets people in to actually go, okay, cool. Like now I want to listen, because you're not out here saying or claiming to know everything. Whenever people, I get the sense that they're trying to say they know everything or they've got the answers, I turn right off.
Oh fuck.
I turn right the fuck off instantly, bro. And I almost just like completely just like just move that out of my whole realm, and I'm like, I can't absorb any of that.
Yeah, I mean, I can say things like I can read the future or whatever, but guess what? I reserve the right to change my mind. Oh shit. So I can say anything I want. Like that. Fuck, I can read the future. I can tell you what you're eating for breakfast tomorrow.
Yeah,
but until that happens, I reserve the right to change my mind.
But how'd I go tonight?
I think you like made a massive love puddle in the middle of my gig.
That sounds fucked, bro. The cop's gonna rock up now.
Love
That's
puddle.
fucked. A love puddle, bro. You know what you said? I think I finished. All right, bro.
Was that an hour?
Yeah, that must have been an hour. All right. Can I ask you then some really quick questions?
Should I share it?
Hells yeah, share it, bro. That was dope. And we can just do this real quick because I know you got to get to a sound check, and I've actually got to get there as well.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you in a sense put me on a little bit and helped me out. You definitely did that. Is there anyone that you remember that you want to give a shout out to that put you on when you were in my position? That stands out as just like someone who did that?
I mean, I guess so. Bass Records did. They invested money in us pretty early on.
Fuck yeah, so they fucked with you.
Yeah.
Alright, fuck yeah, bro. Okay, are you gonna get face tats? Because you're sort of teasing people with that trailer trash pick, with that mumble rap vibe.
No, not gonna get
Okay, not getting face tats.
Maybe when I'm 40.
Maybe when you're 40, yeah. Fuck it, just fuck everyone. Do it when you're old.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And also, would you say something about like the mumble rap scene, like the whole wave that came out? I feel like there was a lot of hate. Where did you sit? Were you like against it, or were you just like my position was, dude, people, they're just doing their thing. They're being creative. They're experimenting. They've got a new sound.
I was
Let
like,
them be.
hip hop has given me a new brush to paint with.
Fuck yes. That's sick. I love that perspective. Okay. Really quickly, like, what were 5 of your biggest influences? You'd say Hilltop Hoods.
Hilltop Hoods in the sense of empowerment.
Uh-huh.
Potentially not musically,
Uh-huh.
but definitely in terms of like, I idolize like what they've done.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And I love their music. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like music. I've said to them personally. I've gone, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know if I would have been a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Because they opened a floodgate for me to empower me to, you know, if you listen to their lyrics, that's what they're talking about. Just fucking go out and get it, you know.
Fucking oath.
So yeah, I'll throw Hilltop Hoods in there for sure.
Sweet. Adelaide, rep for Adelaide.
Yeah, rep for Adelaide. James Blake.
Okay.
Just incredible sense of melody. Neil Young, again, storytelling, melody. Tribe Called Quest, just like really meat and potato hip hop, conscious hip hop, respectful hip hop, progressive hip hop.
Fuck yeah.
And I want to say like J. Cole and Kendrick as my top 5. So that's top 6. But
I love that. We're that dude. Talk with Yorke. You know, we're here to break the rules, bro.
break the fucking rules.
I've always broken the rules. I'm not going to stop now. Okay, can we just quickly tap on, like, just, I know this, we could go into this for ages, but I just want to quickly speak, and I do think it's important, like, the drug culture in music. Maybe just share it quickly, your experience with that, and where you're at now.
I mean, I don't see a problem with taking drugs at all. I haven't been clinically diagnosed with depression, but I am, and they're not serving me at the moment. I reserve the right to change my mind at a later date. Like, I'm gonna smoke weed again. Like I've announced to people that I'm not smoking weed, but it doesn't mean I will not smoke weed again. And I'm not drinking, but it doesn't mean I won't drink at some stage. Right now, it's not serving me, so that's where I'm at with it.
Dope.
But in a macro sense, I think that, you know, musicians and artists in general are fed drugs and alcohol, and again, it's to do with this like pedestaled idealism of putting people on a pedestal, and you know, eventually, it's like it's like fans are wishing death on their favorite artists.
I know what you're saying.
You know, because it's like
tragedy. Like,
yeah, we want you to go out. You're brilliant. You know, go out there and live this otherworldly life
that we can't live.
That we can't live, which means like fucking bitches and smoking and drinking and taking heaps of cocaine, and it's just like, and then that trickles back and has a feedback loop effect on all their fans. So all their fans think you have to do that to become a rapper, and I just think it's a massive wank, and it's totally like,
it's a big fucking wank.
Yeah, it's a massive wank, and for me at this moment in my life, I'll be the exception to the rule and say, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to wank. It's No Nut November.
No, not November. You actually can be yourself, healthy, and still be a creative person. It's not a prerequisite to being a brilliant artist. Not that I'm a brilliant artist. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you can function in society without the use of substances. I
definitely know a lot of people who disagree with that. But anyway, I mean, that you're not a brilliant artist is what I'm saying. Not about the big point you just made. That was dope. And yeah, bro. And I wanted to say, I appreciate that. You know, I'm on like the wave of like a similar wave to you, and I genuinely do appreciate that. And I do think it's one of those weird things where suddenly it's such a big slap in the face for people, for an artist to come out and just talk about that sort of stuff and be like, cool, it's not serving me. I've got depression, like I've actually got things I'm dealing with, so I'm actually going to stop because it's not serving me. Yeah. I think that's a really, really just like reasonable fucking stance. Cool. You know what I mean? Like,
it's very reasonable.
It's very reasonable, but for some reason, reasonable stuff is like...
It triggers people, you know.
It does.
And I understand why, but, you know.
But that strength of you to even actually stop, like maybe using things that aren't serving you, can actually go such a long way for people to hear that. You know?
I hope so, yeah. Like, I mean, I've had about 20 people, literally probably more, say that because of what you've been talking about, I've stopped smoking weed, and it's been 4 weeks, it's been 13 weeks, it's been 5 weeks. And I'm like, there was obviously, you knew, nothing I said was new to you.
Alright, dude, thank you so fucking much, man. Like, we had a really, really dope chat and really chopped it up. And I really appreciate you, brother. You're a fucking really awesome dude. You're a fucking real one. Super just keen to fucking do it with you tonight, bro.
Yeah, let's get it.
Get on stage and Fat Controller. Let's get it. Awesome. Tuka. This has been Tuka. Talk with Yorke. Yay.